Today we are actually doing a spotlight session with Tyler Jefcoat from Seller Accountant in the US. Welcome today, Tyler.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Right, great to have you aboard. But we've got some questions that might help the US people today, just about setting up your account when you first start. We have so many queries about this as to how people should do their sort of initial starting with Amazon. So look, the first thing for US based sellers, do you suggest that they set up an LLC to commence their Amazon journey? And what is an LLC? Maybe that'll help you answer the question.
Yeah, so I for sure the answer is yes. So if you're starting your new Amazon journey as whether you live in the States or not, having a corporate entity helps. And so an LLC, a limited liability corporation, is one of those entity types that gives you some protection and it allows you to file your taxes as a business where you can write off your expenses. And unless this is purely a hobby, Margaret, what I mean is I'm just selling my old junk. I've got to have a business. As soon as this becomes a business in my mind, it needs to become a business on paper, and setting up an LLC is the easy first step to doing that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. And look, is it something that people can do themselves, or do they actually need to employ an accountant or a specialist to do this? And roughly, what is the cost? I mean, it probably differs, but
No, but in the States, it's surprisingly affordable, Margaret. So you start an LLC. There even like website versions. I think it's called corpnet.com or something to that effect, where you can set up an LLC, pick your state. It's going to cost you a few $100s, and I would not pay anybody to do this. Now, I was talking to an investor yesterday, Margaret, who they have 3 or 4 investors in the business. They're going to have a lot of cash. Okay, if things are complicated, you definitely need to have an attorney draw up your operating agreement and make sure that you're solid on that side of things. But if you're just
right.
starting your own business, go set up an LLC. You can probably do it online. There may be someone in your town that can do it for you on the cheap. And then the second thing that you didn't mention yet, Margaret, but it's so important, is to set up a separate bank account. So I do not
Yeah.
want to commingle my Amazon business with my personal finances. Leave mama's checkbook alone. I want to have a separate business account, a separate business credit card. And I would almost do that at the same time. I don't want to have any money being confusing between my personal and my business.
That's great advice. Yeah, no, most definitely. And I think too, if you're doing Amazon, I know here in Australia, the payment service providers that they actually suggest work a lot more efficiently for us. I don't know. Is that the same in the States? The fees and things are cheaper, or
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I think I understood your question. Yeah, it's definitely easier to just get accounts that are dedicated to your business, and it does end up
yeah.
saving you money. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, no problem. Yeah. Now look, in the States, if you live there, are you required to pay sales tax, number one, on Amazon, and number two, on Shopify, Etsy, everything else that floats around in that e-com space?
Yeah, so everybody, including myself, were freaked out 5 years ago when the Supreme Court ruling made sales tax a major pain in the rear for those of us who are U.S. sellers. The beautiful news, Margaret, and so this is happy news for me to deliver, is that Amazon, if you're selling on the marketplace, is responsible for sales tax in every single state that collects and remits sales tax. So for your Amazon sales, it's kind of a non-issue. You kind of get to let Amazon collect and remit those sales tax for you. For your direct-to-consumer sales, what I mean is through your Shopify, WordPress, WooCommerce, Magento websites. Yes, your BigCommerce is another one. You're still on the hook for sales tax in every state that has a sales tax, which is most of them. And I just always recommend there are tools out there that will give you like a free 30-day trial. They'll connect to your website and will tell you what your exposure is in the state of California or in the state of Georgia where I live. And I almost everybody who calls me, Margaret, they want to talk to an accountant and they are freaked out about sales tax. If you are going to be 100% Amazon, let's just lower that anxiety a little bit. Let's
Oh,
chill.
yeah.
We'll deal with sales tax when we reach 1 million in revenue and beyond.
Okay. Oh, that's good. Yeah, but it does sound daunting if you're doing like your own website or something like that. Because I hate, and I being, I have no idea, but do you pay your sales tax monthly, yearly? How does that?
Well, and it's even worse than that, Margaret, because some states it's going to be monthly, some it's quarterly. Sometimes it
Oh,
depends. Like, for instance, the state of New York, if you're below a certain threshold for revenue, you only have to file every year. And so here's my advice. You're going to buy a software like there's two of them. There's two of them that are dominant here in the States. One's called Avalera.com and one's called TaxJar.com. And you're not going to try to memorize how each and every state manages sales tax. It's a nightmare. You don't want to deal with that. You're going to have a software go do the work for you, and you're going to try to automate those filings so that you don't have any more headache than you have to.
okay. So really, you don't have a choice but to, have the software or get someone to actually do it all for you, I suppose, which is the other option. So look, how can you assist people with, these requirements and, offer advice on, how their business is progressing? We know once you start, turning over lots of dollars doesn't mean to say you're making lots of dollars, does it? I mean, I
No.
love it when I see an Amazon screenshot and I've turned over, $1 million, but, or they say they've made $1 million, but to me, they've turned it over. They could have made $2. And I think it's very important if you are new to business and you have got no idea about profit and loss and all your expenses and everything, to have someone, keep an eye on it for you. So do you want to talk about quickly, what
Sure.
you do and how you do it, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, I mean, what you just said, Margaret, I would rephrase it as saying sales is vanity, profit is sanity. And you can make $1 million in turnover and lose money. You've been paying to be a part of that. I mean, that's not uncommon. So, what we do here at Seller Accountant is we help you understand where your dollars are going, where the expenses are going to, where they're coming from, where's your profit coming from, what parts of your overhead structure need to be slimmed up. How do you manage cash flow? How do you make sure that each and every product in your portfolio is profitable? Hey, is the black one profitable? Is the red one profitable? Do I need to stop investing in the red one because it isn't making me any money? And so Seller Accountant does bookkeeping and those fractional CFO services to help make sure. Because guess what, guys? Bezos and Amazon are going to make money. You're going to pay your fees to them. What's important for you and me as small business owners is we want our sellers to make money. I mean, and I know this is true for you also, Margaret. We are 100% dependent on our sellers making a profit. So we need you guys to be profitable, or we don't exist. Our
Yeah.
our services aren't a thing.
Yeah, no, and look, I always say businesses make money, hobbies take money.
Yep.
So because a lot of people, I think I'll just do Amazon as a sidekick. It's not my job; it's just my hobby, and I'll just float along. But I mean, you can still lose a lot of money with your hobby, if we want to call it that. And I think once you start dealing on Amazon, it's no longer a hobby because there's so much needed to set it up and get it going correctly, that and that PPC can quickly take more than the profit away.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Margaret and I can show you some other hobbies. If you want an expensive hobby, let's talk to you about buying a boat maybe, or like let's
Yeah, exactly.
travel a little bit, like if you want to like, get into poker, like I don't know, do something that'll give you some like social enjoyment. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, look, and I've actually just put Tyler's website up in front now. So I'm just thinking we could go so deep with you that I'd like to bring you back onto one of our shows, and we can actually go into a lot more information about, because you've got a lot of experience, obviously, in what people should be looking at and help them do that. So we will schedule that for shortly. So people watch out for some more in-depth information from Tyler. And while we're here, we have just returned from India, and we are now planning our next India trip, which is the 4th to the 10th of February. And then we have a trip to Vietnam on the 17th to the 26th of April. So if anyone is interested, if you go to our two websites, indiasourcingtrip.com or vietnamsourcingtrip.com, you can find out more information on those. And if you use the code Tyler, you'll get 3% off the total cost of the trip. So that's a little bit of a saving for you as well. And we had a wow of a time in India in October. It was a huge success and send lots of great products, guys. So get on that next trip. And look, Tyler, I'd like to thank you very much for your time, and we will get you on our next MMK show shortly.
Thanks, Margaret.
Okay, thanks, Tyler.